All right, so we're talking about this Chex Mix thing. I'm just going to dive in and show you what I did to create each of the sounds, how I was using the source material of my 12-second fake Chex Mix food review, and how we turned that into a beat and music. So let's just jump into this. The trick to doing something like this is to be fluid, to not have a lot of preconceptions or expectations, and really just move like water and let the sample dictate your creative choices. Let what's available to you determine the route that you take. The less you have in terms of specific ideas and expectations going into it, the easier of a time you're going to have working with what's there, and the more fun it's going to be. So the first thing I did was just took the sample and hunted through it to find something that could be used as a beat, some kind of a drum. And what I ended up finding were a couple different instances where I was crackling the bag, or the bag was crackling. I'm not sure that I was doing it on purpose.
All right, guys, so in today's video, we're going to be reviewing the...
So there's that, but the problem is I'm talking over that.
We're going to be reviewing the Chex Mix traditional...
No, we're not doing that. But then right at the end, as I'm saying, no, we're not doing that, and I tossed the bag aside. That became something that I was able to grab.
Chex Mix traditional... No, we're not doing that.
Yep, there it is, right at the very end. There's just a little snippet without me talking. So I grabbed that, and then took that, mapped it to the keyboard, so I was able to play a very, very pitched down version for a kick, sort of, and then a high version. It's sort of like a kick and snare. It's close enough to that. I mean, it's a low and a high percussive sound, and that creates the feeling that we want for a beat. Now, that sound just by itself, it's fairly mellow. It's going to sound like this. Let me take off the reverb. So it's that you can hear the higher one is closer to the actual sound of the bag being crackled, and then the low one is just that, pitched down like 2 octaves to make a sort of a bass drum. So that's obviously not too exciting as a drum beat. So we've got a compressor on there using the supercharger. You get with a lot of the saturation setting and the character setting, which just adds heft and sizzle, kind of an overdrive kind of thing. If you listen to that. You can hear it's just beefing that up, adding a lot of juice and energy. And then a little bit of EQ. This is tilt shift, and we're using this to basically flip some of that treble down towards the bass. So we add a lot more weight to the bottom of that. You can hear that before and after. This is the normal sound. It's very crackly. This just rounds it out, gives it a lot more of a big bottom. And then it's just another EQ taking out some of those mids to kind of sculpt the sound a little bit and make some room for other kids who want to play in those frequencies. You can hear that just gives it a nice, smooth, scooped drum sound. I mean, it's not exactly a nice drum sound, but it's a percussive thing that fits into the track better. And then we just have some reverb. I've just got one main reverb bus that everything is going to, and that just lets it blossom out, feel a little bit larger than life, and gives more of a sense of spaciousness to the track here. So then our next percussive element, this is a clip of me saying today in the beginning of the clip. I go, all right, guys, so today, and I just took that. I can actually show you the larger clip here. No, I can't. I'm a liar. I can show you the clip in context, though. It's up here.
So in today's video, we're going to be...
So it's just that tiny little segment, and you can see here where I cut it. Today's video.
So in today's video...
And so today becomes... And then we take that, and it's just that with a low pass to make sure it's not creating mud in for the rest of the track, because we really don't need any of the bass on that, and then a little bit of boost in the highs. But it's basically just that sound of me going today and just cut to be t. And so we take that and then just paste it at every eighth note, and we get t. And I just have some fun little rhythms going on there just to create more work for myself in the video editing, because I'm a masochist. So that's pretty much the drums, and that serves as the foundation for what's going to happen with the rest of the track. Percussion-wise, the only other thing that's happening later is that I'm adding in this electronic kit here just to kind of beef things up. And there's nothing too fancy happening with that. I just have this ultra beat man, and that's only going to a bus because that's what I need to do to side chain it to the compressor on the bass to get that classic techno suck, as they call it. No one calls it that. I shouldn't call it that either. It's gross. But that's really it for the drums. So then what I'm doing for this chorus part, basically I sifted through the sounds, and I just wanted to get something that would have kind of an iconic feel to it, and it made sense to me that me saying Chex Mix would be good as like a hook, so to speak, for the track as a whole. So I've got me saying Chex Mix here.
The Chex Mix tradition.
And then I once again took that and mapped it to the keyboard to hear how it sounded at different pitches. And I ended up really liking it pitched way down, which also with the algorithm that I'm using for the pitch shifting in the sampler, it also slows it down because it's a natural process there. And so that ends up with this Chex Mix, this kind of vaporwave sound. And then I just took the way that I'm saying that, it has sort of a musical quality. The Chex Mix, it has a natural melody to it. And so it was just a matter of taking that and running with it, going, okay, we can have it there, and then play it a little bit higher, and it gets that Chex do. And that was basically that whole process. And I'm not really doing much else with that sound. I added a little bit of delay to give it kind of a sense of space, and then some of that same reverb that's on the drums. And so then we get... That's really all there is for the hook. So then for the next section, I wanted to figure out something different to do. And I liked the sound of me saying, all right, guys.
All right, guys, so...
And it's interesting because it has, again, this natural melody to it. Do.
All right, guys, so...
And so I took that and just kind of ran with that. Grabbed the sample from there and then played little melodies with me saying so, just in response to the original melodic sound that phrase already had. So, for example, we've got this part.
All right, guys, so... All right, guys, so...
This is extremely serious music. And then that little transition part is just the all right, guys, so being sent just at the end to a big reverb, which is then fading up. So it swells and then it's cutting off at the end. Sorry, you can't see me pointing at the screen. I got to use my mouse. So that's what this sounds like.
All right, guys, so...
Very fun. that's pretty much all there is to that section. Then I wanted to spice things up a bit and not just use the samples from the original, from the source material of the fake Chex Mix food review. So decided to bring in this Rhodes here in response to one of the So melodies. And to me, there's a fun sense of kind of crossing worlds here, because the kinds of melodies that you can do with a weird sample like that, it's very, very constricting. It's like there's no sustain to the sound. It gets weird and chirpy and distorted as you move up too high. The different keys will attack at different times because each version of the sample is slower or faster in the algorithm I'm using. So you have to be very, very careful. It's a very, very tight parameter in which you can work with the melodies. So that ends up with a very specific sound. And then taking that and then transferring that over to a more traditional keyboard that really has so much possibility, it's like you get this very different version of that starting point that was so compressed in terms of the possibilities. And now it's like, okay, well, here's a completely different take on that. And that to me is really interesting. It's like we're taking the robot world and bringing it back to the human world.
Yeah.
Now, because I was just running with these samples initially, and I was doing this in a pretty limited amount of time, so I was not really crossing my I's and dotting my T's, so to speak. And so I didn't adjust the pitch of the sample to match standard A equals 440. I just used it as is, or as was. And so when I added this Rhodes part, in order to make that match, I had to pitch shift it a little bit, up 32 cents. If we take that out, you can hear it's kind of like we're doing a microtonal key shift from one part to the other. Yeah. I mean, that could be interesting if you're into that kind of thing, but wasn't really what I was going for this. In particular, I wanted to have these parts playing together later, so I had to shift it. So that's something to watch out for when you're doing stuff like this with samples. Probably an easier approach is just to tune the samples initially, but it's also kind of interesting to me to have this thing end up outside of A equals 440. It kind of gives it more of that weird kind of otherworldly feeling sound, which I think for something that's, you know, such a strange form of music that's just built completely off of this weird sample, I think that's kind of fitting. So then we've got
Traditional, no. Traditional, no.
So this is the part where in the video I say, reviewing the traditional... No, we're not doing that. It sounds like this.
Traditional, no, we're not doing that.
And what struck me about this part was that it had this interesting, tight, bouncy rhythm to it, where I'm going, traditional, no.
Traditional, no.
No. And so I basically took that and chopped that and copied and pasted that in different ways to create different rhythmic flavors throughout this part.
Traditional, no. Traditional, no. Traditional, no.
My favorite.
Tradition.
Hashtag
Tradition.
And that's one of those things, I think they call the effect jamais vu, where if you hear a word enough times or too many times, it ceases to sound like a word. You know what I'm talking about? I was like, whoa. I feel like I repeat tradish just enough here that it, especially like the way that I'm saying it, it stops sounding like I'm saying tradition. It just feels like this weird musical tone that's happening.
Tradition.
This weird musical tone that's happening. Sorry, my words get cut off when I hit play.
Tradition.
Like you hear all these weird elements of the sound that you don't really notice at first. And it just, like, the weirdness becomes highlighted and accentuated, and it moves more and more towards focusing on that and less towards, or more and more away from, like, the actual feeling of me saying the word tradish. It just becomes this glitch in the machine or something. Like that gets accentuated, you know what I'm saying? And then the ambient noise starts to take on a life of its own and feel like it's part, like you actually start hearing that and noticing it, and it feels like it's a part of it. It's very interesting what happens when you repeat things, and that's really what music is all about. Repeating sounds. So now we have the repeat of the hook with more drums added and that Rhodes. Just doing that and then bringing back the so. I'll just play that. And that just repeats. Then the part after the chorus, we're doing a similar thing with the all right. So then when we get to new stuff is with this video part. So what I noticed again with when I'm saying at the very beginning of the sample, I say, all right, guys, so in this video, or in today's video.
All right, guys, so in today's video, we're going to be reviewing.
The word video, it's very melodic the way I'm doing it, and it's on a single pitch. Video, like that.
So in today's video, we're going to be reviewing the Chex Mix.
And so I thought that would be fun to turn that into a sample instrument, because the fact that I'm on one pitch for the entire word means that I can really easily map that to a keyboard and then play melodies with it. So that was what I did.
Video.
Let you see that a little bit better.
Video.
And then the fun thing is once that sample gets high enough, because it's getting faster as the pitch ascends, you can no longer hear the individual syllables of the word video. It just becomes video, just mashed together. And so this high thing is actually that same video sample, but it's up so high that you no longer hear the word video. It just sounds like this. And so I just played some kind of plunky hip hop piano chords with that. You can still hear the word video, or you can hear like the remnants of it, but it just sounds like a splat, a flam. A flam, excuse me, I keep forgetting that my voiceover gets cut off. I might have to do something about that in future videos. So that's that, and then wanted to give a more climactic feel to this final hook. So I use this little riser from... What did I use here? I think this is Rise and Hit, classic. And then I've got this bass sound coming in at the end to give it some real bottom. We really didn't have any bass. Previously, we just had that low detuned sample of the crackling. And I bet if I had hunted around a bit, I might have been able to find some kind of a bass. Well, yeah, like I probably could have taken one of the things I'm saying in the clip and then just pitch that down, and that could have been an interesting bass sound. And actually, maybe I'll try that just for the heck of it, just to add something interesting to this video. But real quick, let me finish going through this here. So this is just that riser here. I didn't even label it, but instrument 8 is the riser.
So in today's video, we're going to be reviewing the...
And then I have that full clip of, so in today's video, we're going to be reviewing the, just as a way to set up the final hook. And then we have all the parts coming together, basically. The thing I was talking about earlier with the techno suck on the bass. Don't call it techno suck, but pumping is the bass being side chained to the kick, so that whenever the kick is engaged, the bass is turned down, so you get that nice. That's what electronic music is all about. Is and that is really all there is to it. All this stuff on the master bus is just the glue that's mostly engaging on the snare hits only, which is a great way to give your tracks that nice. It's just like this kind of secret for a more pro sound, especially in rock type stuff. But I just do this in everything. Just very fast attack, very fast release, set with a threshold, so it's mostly just on the snare hits, and it gives every snare hit that sense of weight. It just brings everything together, hence the glue. Then I've got some EQ. Yeah, this was actually something important. Taking off So the air setting on this EQ, it's just for like extreme highs. And I was getting a lot of that with all of the bag crinkling, which was also in some of the samples of just my talking. So I had to really tame that. And then we've got my weird trick I do where I use a pink noise and then side chain the EQ to that, and then do the EQ match setting, because pink noise has a really nice frequency curve for the most part, and you can use that. And I had it a little bit more extreme in this one just because it's a weird Chex Mix remix, so why not? But normally I wouldn't have the EQ mixed in quite this much. This is 39. I would usually do maybe closer to 20-25%. And then we've got a little bit more EQ cutting. Yeah, a lot more of the highs. You can hear it gets a little bit brittle without that. That's a little too much. So we just want to round that out at the top, and then we're just doing some other EQ in there. And then we've got a limiter, pretty basic. So that's really it. Other than that, I think the only EQ stuff I was doing on these were, oh, I already showed you that one. Yep. Pretty much the stuff on the master bus is mainly it. So one other thing I wanted to try, since I mentioned it earlier, was to see if we can put together any kind of a bass sound with one of these samples, just as a little bonus treat. So to make this into a bass, I want to see if we can find some section where I'm saying a word that has a nice clear vowel. That's going to be the key.
Alright guys, so in today's video, we're gonna...
Excuse me.
Alright guys, so in today...
You know, the and alright.
Alright guys, alright guys, alright guys.
I think this has potential. So, we take this. Yeah, I think that, let's round that out. Fade in and a fade out.
Alright guys.
And actually, let's take that and just, well, we'll try with the attack that's there. I'm almost thinking we want to bring it in just in the middle of the vowel, so it's just a pure ah. Let's see how this works.
Alright guys.
Alright, this is pretty weird, but I think if we take this, so convert to new sampler track. And then got to do some little mapping things. Bear with me. Now this is all just, yeah, that's okay. We got to pitch it way down. But let's see if this is worth anything. So, all right, I don't know if you can see the keyboard, but well, let's real quick try to put that over the track. It sort of works. I think we need to add some crunch to it. And the thing I'm noticing now is that it kind of clashes with the Chex Mix. So that would be something to watch out for. I bet if we were to hunt through the samples, we could find other little bits that could work as a bass too. But I just wanted to give a little taste of how I might go about doing that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little dive into this weird track. If you have any questions, anything you'd want me to expand upon further in another video, Any requests for other weird experiments like this to do, please let me know. I would love to hear from you. Love to get into anything that is particularly interesting to you, and yeah, make more cool stuff for you guys. So thanks for tuning in. That's such an outdated term. Thank you for clicking. Thank you for beaming this information from the YouTube servers that I have beamed into the YouTube servers from my home. I'm just going to stop. See you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.
So in today's video, we're going to be reviewing the